What's going on, people? Welcome back to Premzy TV. Boy, oh boy, it's not looking good, is it, Bish? I've had to bring my guy, Bish, City fan, on the cut, as you were knowing from Premier League Unpacked. And I hopefully he can give me some calm, man, and calm me down a little bit, because I'm telling you, I just
Yeah,
had to have a little 5 minutes vape the shit out of all the liquid that's in my vape, yeah, to calm
yeah,
down. But Bish, at the same time, I kind of expected something like this. You get me? I kind of expected
yeah,
something like this because after the Southampton game, I think I was probably one of the only fans that was really kind of writing us off. There was a few, myself, Troops, Yardman, a couple others around
yeah.
the ground, but I think it's the hope that kills you as a fan, because you love your team
Mm,
and you want the best for your team. You go on believing, but then sometimes you got to sit back and be a little bit realistic and think, I know how my team's been playing this year, and over the last couple of performances, they just haven't been there where they've been at the start of the season. And I kind of seen it a little bit early, but I give you guys credit. The better team won on the day, and to be fair, it could have even been more. How did you see that game panning out? How do you see it playing out, Bish?
it was a funny one, wasn't it? I mean, obviously we got a goal early, and I think first 30 minutes I was kind of locked into the game because it still felt like. I mean, until tonight, no matter what anyone said before this game, until tonight's game, you couldn't really say for certain. Like, I didn't
Mm,
want to go all the way, like, right, we're going to definitely win the Prem, because if Arsenal had come and got a win, then it would be back in the other direction. But I think after about 30 minutes into that game today, um, I just started to feel like there was no way that City weren't going to win the game, and that wasn't necessarily because Arsenal were getting totally overran. It wasn't that. It was just City looked so solid and so in control.
mm,
And I think it's hard, isn't it? Because I mean, I don't know. I'd like to get your opinion on this, but it didn't really feel like Arsenal have done anything majorly wrong. I wouldn't even say in this game, but even with some of the points they've dropped, yes, we can look back and break down some of the points that they've dropped. But when you think about some of the runs they've gone on, the amount of wins they've got back to back, like points usually get dropped during the season, and it's unfortunate the timing of when it's happened. But it's just experience, I think. You just see these
mm.
little moments, even at the end of the game with Ben White getting frustrated and stuff. Like when you've been kind of here enough times before, I think players start to learn things. Even just like you don't let the enemy see when they've kind of broke you. Do you know what I mean? For him to
Mm.
be acting out like that at the end of the game, regardless of what happened, and then he probably looked like he wanted to cry when he was walking off the pitch. Like you could see in his face and in their faces. And I think there's just that lack of experience makes you get a little bit emotional sometimes in these
Mm.
moments, and it makes it difficult when you're coming up against, like, let's be clear, this is a City team that is probably in some ways the peak City team that we've seen, even if it's not necessarily my favorite or the most beautiful to watch. When you add with Haaland in the mix and how solid we were defensively tonight, like that's what Arsenal have come up against this year, and they've run us to the wire. So I could see how you would feel down right now as an Arsenal fan, especially losing the game
Mm.
4-1 in the end. But I still think Arsenal have been phenomenal this season, and it's how do you feel like as a fan? How do you start to kind of plan for next season and not letting this become more than a setback on trying to get that first title and
Yo, it's
first
just
title back?
it's gutting, Bish. It's just I'm just going to
Mm.
put you on mute for 2 seconds, just while I think, because
Yep.
I don't know, I'm getting a little bit of I don't know if anyone else can hear that, but I don't know if it's when you're breathing or something, bro. It's like a
Okay.
big loud. But yeah,
No.
that's
Go on. Yep.
miles better. Sorry. Do you know what? Yeah, it's like I said, bro. It's the hope that kills you as a fan. Like, I'm not going to take nothing away from the boys this season. We've been phenomenal for best part of pretty much, I'd say, 3/4 of it so far. I think when it's come down to the business end now and it's time to pull your big boy pants up, it looks like they haven't
Yep.
done that. You get me? And I think experience as well, that kicks into play. Also, I don't want to get onto anyone's back. And Rob Holding, I'm so glad he got a goal today, because a lot of people are
Yep.
scapegoating him. But I think defensively, collectively as a team, we've looked absolute
Yep.
horrendous over the last couple of games. But I think William Saliba is showing what a good centre back he is and what an impact he makes on this team. Because since he's been out of the team, I think we've conceded something like what, fifth, somebody said 15 goals. I thought it was 11 goals, but we've conceded quite a few goals, and that's just not good enough. If you want to go and you want to win the Premier League and you're up against a juggernaut like Man City, you have to be able to keep clean sheets. You get me? You can't be shipping in goals. That times in that game today, yeah, bro, we were cut open so easily. You get me? Like a knife through butter. It was like, where the fuck is the midfield? Where is the defense? What are these man playing at? You get me? Like, why are they not making it hard and tight and compact in order for City having to break us down? And then going the other way, yeah, there was no outlet. There was no direction. There was no forward passing. There was no passing with intent. You get me? We couldn't get the ball to the wingers, and City were just chopping us out, shutting us out, locking us off. Look, Akanji for yous, man. He's coming. He's playing left back. I want to see my guy Saka running at him. I want to see my guy running at him. You get me? Test him, put him under pressure. Nerves can kick in at times because he hasn't really been
Yeah.
playing left back regularly. It's been Nathan Ake. But no, I didn't see that drive that I've seen from the boys. And another thing, we concede goals early. For over the last couple of games, we're conceding goals early. You get me? And Southampton, prime example, first 30 seconds, you get me? The lapses of concentration, the nerves, the pressure
Yeah.
seeming to get there. You can see when it was 3-0 down, the pressure started to lift. Arteta made some substitutions, made some changes, and it looked like we had probably the best part of, say, 5-10 minutes spell in that game where we probably looked
Yeah.
better in them moments than the whole rest of the match.
Definitely.
So
Do you think you should have made the changes earlier? Because you did look better after the changes. Do you think you should have gone in at half time and just made those changes, or is it hard to say?
For me, it's one of them. I've been on Arteta for not making the right changes of late and not bringing on
Yeah.
people early. You get me? But for example, sometimes you got to be pragmatic in games. You're going up against the Man City away from home. I understand you have your philosophy. I understand you have your way of playing and you want to play everybody in that fashion. But sometimes you got to
Yeah.
be a little bit smart enough to take a step back and think, right, okay, this is not a joke of a game. You get me? This is a very, very big game. We have to look at the situation differently. Maybe try out a two with a Partey and a Jorginho. You get me? Maybe bring in a Trossard. Maybe start with a Kieran Tierney rather than a Zinchenko. Because for me, over the last couple of weeks, Zinchenko's looked totally off it, bro. At least with Kieran Tierney, you know you're getting solid defending, bro. And that's something that this team needs right now, a proper unit at the back. Ben White, I think he played all right. You get me? I think he made good couple challenges, last ditch saves from a Haaland shot and so on. Likewise with Ramsdale, he made some good saves. It could have been even more embarrassing. You get me, bro? But look, it's one of them where, to me, I've already felt like the league was gone at Southampton. I said it on my AFTV interview. It looks like it's gone. And
Yeah, you
today
said it to
was one
me.
of them games where if we won this game, you've put yourself back on track because that belief can run into the players. Then look, we beat these guys. We beat the big dogs in the competition. We beat the guys who are right on our tailcoats, and we can go on and maybe potentially win the rest of our 5 games. I was saying it before this game. Even if we did win this game against Man City, for me, I still couldn't see us getting over the line because I still think we'd be dropping points against maybe teams like Newcastle. Chelsea, to be fair, these might be getting spanked, yeah, left, right, and centre. They got beat today 2-0 by Brentford. But it wouldn't surprise me if these guys came to the Emirates in a derby, pulled the socks up, and even tried to play out for a draw. So it's a difficult one because as much as I'm so upset and disappointed that the realization is kicking in that we're not going to win the league, because look, mathematically it's not over, but I'm a realist. You get me? And I've been saying it is not going to happen. When I need to put my chest out and I need to back my team and go all the way, I'm going to do that 100%.
And you
But
do
then
that. Yeah.
when shit starts getting real and you start seeing signs where your team's starting to fumble the bag, you got to come out and you got to say it as it is, bro. That's just the way I am. Bro, I'm telling you, man's going to be getting bantered. It is what it is. You get me? This is football. I understand that. But also, we need a plan B in a game. If a plan A ain't working, I want to see Arteta switch it up and not play with inverted fullbacks. Maybe change it around. Try to go on the outside. Try to use the wings a little bit more. Create a plan B. I'm just hoping to God, that he can take as much as he can from this season. and learn from the mistakes that he's made this season, because he is a novice manager and this is his first title running. You get me? And I'm not trying to make excuses for him. I'm just trying to look at it as, can we take positives out of this season moving forward? Because I do honestly believe Arsenal ain't going to be going anywhere anytime soon. I think we're going to have investment in the squad next season.
Yeah.
I think these lads are going to be a year older. Certain players are going to have to leave the squad, potentially upgrade on the likes of a Granit Xhaka and a Rob Holding, and maybe bring in another striker. Somebody said Ivan Toney. I'd love him as a different option. So I think there is going to be a little rejig at Arsenal. And I think that we are in the right trajectory. We are going in the right place. But if we don't win the league this season, being 268 days at top, it's a failure for me, because I said it in many podcasts before as well, Bish. You've heard me for Premier League Unpacked. You can't sacrifice every single competition, put your eggs in one basket, and then if you don't win it, it's not a failure. For me, that's a failure. You get me? I'm just trying to look at the positives now, because it's not all doom and gloom around the club. Obviously, you're going to get Tom, Dick, and Harry chatting shit, because it's just, like I said, it's banter, it's football. People are going to be trying to push you to the hills. But realistically, being an Arsenal fan, knowing where my team's come from the last 19 years, I can see progression in the squad. It's just today, it's just hard to put into words to how I'm feeling, bro, because I want to laugh and I want to cry. You get me, bro? It's one of them situations, bro.
It's tough, man. It's a tough one. I mean, I apologize to the people at home for the audio and stuff, because we as you can probably see, it's an impromptu one. I've jumped on when I've got the baby, but after the season we've had, and after where Premier League Unpacked and all these shows have come from, when we started doing this, we didn't think the day would come this soon where it was City and Arsenal fighting it out at the end of the season. Do you know what I mean? Things have happened quickly, and it takes time to get to that point where you got a plan B and a plan C. Like, Pep's still figuring stuff out now. So, I mean, I don't know. I won't keep on here with you too long, because I know you probably got a bit more stuff to get off, and I don't want the baby to be distracting. But
nah, it's
all
okay.
I can say is
that it's cool. She can say what she wants. You know what I mean? She's feeling my pain. You get me? She's crying. She's
yeah,
doing
she
a little
is. She's
crying
crying
and
for
moaning
you,
for
bro.
me. You
It's
get
true,
me?
you know, because she was happy, and then when you started talking about what was going on, she just started to feel it. So, yeah, man, it's a tough one. I mean,
Just before you go as well, Bish, I
Go
want to
on,
ask you something.
go on.
Sorry for cutting you.
I'm here. No,
Look,
go.
I spoke to a lot of City fans, yeah, and a lot of City fans, they're trying to not build too much pressure up on themselves for the treble. You get me? But sometimes you got to say it as
Yeah,
it is. It looks like it's very much on. I don't think Real Madrid are the team of the past. They however, you know,
yeah,
well, they have got the heritage and the competition of the Champions League
yeah,
to get over the line. But do you
yeah.
reckon the treble is on? Do you reckon you'll win it?
I think it's on. I think that's the aim. I think that's what they're working towards. I think at this level, when you're talking about winning the third Premier League title in a row, yes, they will be taking it game by game. Yes, they'll be trying to win the Premier League, but they're thinking about the three-peat. They're thinking about the treble, and they know that there's another level of greatness that they can achieve that's beyond even what any of these other great City teams have achieved. And I think the players will be aware of that. Pep's aware of that. We're aware of it as the fans, all of us, even those that try to talk it down. And I think that's the aim. And I think whether we manage it or not, like, there's been other seasons where I thought we're by far the best team in Europe. This will be the year that we do it. But I've seen before with Real Madrid how that can unravel in a matter of minutes with football. And I just think whether it will happen, who knows? That's still to be seen. But I think it's on the cards, definitely, and that's what the aim is. That's what everyone's aiming for, and that's what we're working towards. So I'm optimistic. We'll see. Real Madrid's the worry for me. The Prem really wasn't the worry. It was Real Madrid, because they'd done it to us last year as well. So psychologically, that's just still there. Do you know what I mean? And United, you know, in the FA Cup final, they know they might be thinking, look, Real Madrid, City could go there and do them. They've kind of in pole position for the league this year. There'll be certain people within United that are either current players or ex-players will be making sure that it's known that, like, if you can win that FA Cup final, it's way more than just an FA Cup to the United fans. It's a chance to stop the treble and stop City really starting to, like, match United for legacy. United fans ain't ready to have that talk, but City got on them.
See United doing that, bro. I
I mean?
can see these man getting brushed aside. You get me?
I think so. I think they'll get the brushing, but they're going to be up for it. So I'm just saying there's a lot of moments left where the treble can just come unraveled. So I wouldn't say today I think we're necessarily going to do it, but I think we've got a very, very good chance, and I think that's what everyone's working towards.
Nah, say no more then, Bish. Obviously, I'm gonna let you go because I know that you
My
got to do
brother,
daddy duties,
my
and
little
I'm
one.
gonna
Listen,
I'm gonna dive
keep your head
onto.
up, my brother.
Nah, you know what, bro? It's one of them. I could have went to the game today. I'll be honest, I could have went, but I weren't feeling
Yeah,
100%. And to be fair, I
yeah,
kind of knew
probably a
this
good
was coming.
decision.
Kind of knew this was coming, bro. But yeah, man, peace,
Yo.
bro. Loving it.
All right, my
Uh,
brother.
I'll
Appreciate
speak
it.
to you
And
soon, innit?
again, thanks to the people that are locked into the stream for bearing with us. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
Soon come. Love to everyone locked in.
Say no more, my brother. Peace and love. Yeah.
Okay.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.
People. Oh my days! I'm telling you, it's one of them things. The good thing is with Bish, he's a Carmen City fan. You get me? He's been my boy since day, so he ain't gonna be giving me too much grief. If anything, he's gonna try to give me some optimism and stuff like that. But it looks like we absolutely fucked it. That's the God's honest truth. And to be fair, it is not much of a surprise to me because, like I keep touching on, after Southampton, it looked like a big mountain to climb. You get me, especially when you're taking 3 points from a possible nine. Like I keep saying, Liverpool understand that. However, Southampton, West Ham, it just makes no sense. You get me. Now we've been beaten by City. The last team to beat us was City, and I think you just got to put your hands up and just say, you know what, the levels above. They are levels above. They outplayed us, outclassed us. They stopped us from pretty much doing absolutely anything. You get me? And we just didn't look ourselves. Now, we are going to touch on some players because for me, Saka, I love Saka. I rate him highly. Think he's going to be one of the best players in the world. However, of late, he's not been at it. You get me? We need players like Saka, people like Saka and Martinelli that we look up to, that we praise, and that we got our belief and trust in. We need these kind of guys to be grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck. You get me? Trying to make things happen. You get me? Get win fouls in difficult situations, show some character and determination on the pitch. I didn't see none of that from my wingers today. At the same time, I can understand that service weren't that great and they weren't getting the ball in certain areas. However, you got to be making space. If you're not getting it long, come short. You get me? Make runs for people to look to put the ball in over the top. You got to try something different. And that's how I see it. I think Thomas Partey today, he looked it. At times, he made a few good recovery challenges, but most of the time, he was kind of on his own there. He was getting overrun. The midfield with Granit Xhaka and Odegaard as well. I like the fight from Granit Xhaka. I'm not going to bullshit. I like the fight from Xhaka. I like to see him getting man in a headlock like the Jack Grealish and all that. You get me? But ultimately, you got to be performing football on the pitch. You get me? You got to be looking and playing with a good football in mind rather than aggression. But I do like to see what he does. Odegaard again today. He does not look like he's on the same level as Kevin De Bruyne. That's just my God's honest truth. You get me? I love Odegaard. I think he's coming to the team and he's done well. Whether he's captain material, that's another question in it for another day. But I don't know. I don't know because I wasn't seeing too much leadership qualities from him on the pitch today. I think Gabriel, he doesn't look the same defender without Saliba next to him. Although I don't think Rob Holding had a bad game, but I think subconsciously on the back of his mind, he's looking at it like, it's a new partnership, and they might not think Rob Holding's the same level as Saliba, so you might think he has to cut across and try to help Holding out and give some room on his own position. It's a bit of a mad thing, and you know what? Yeah, Mohammed Ping brings up a good comment here. Do you think Trossard deserves to play ahead of Jesus or Saka next match against Chelsea? And you know what, bro? I say this, and I've said it before. I think we should put Saka on the bench. You get me? I don't want to have no agendas for players. I've got nothing but love for this team this year. But sometimes you got to look at it and think if a player's not performing, they might need to sit on the bench. I'm not with they need a rest and they're tired and all of that. I'm not with that. We've got one game a week. However, if you're not informed, sometimes you need to sit your ass on the bench. Yeah, come on. 30 minutes to go, make an impact and start developing that form again. Trossard should definitely be on. Even when Trossard come on today, you can see quick movement. It kind of changed it up in it. Do you know what I mean? It's a mad thing. Should have tied Haaland's hair to the corner flag, Premzy, mate. You know what, bro? I'm telling you, I feel like letting my hair out and fucking letting it all go. But it's mad. You got to give credit to Haaland. You got to give credit to Kevin De Bruyne. What outstanding players they are. It's mental. It's absolutely mental. Big up Guna Lee in the chat. Yo, make sure you go and subscribe to his channel, people. Get me Premier League Unpacked as well every Monday. Guna Lee's on there. And you know what, Guna, this is what we're saying. Bottled it. We said it on Premier League Unpacked on Monday. It's not looking good. for me, Southampton, that was the nail in the coffin. And today it just proves to everyone that was in a better place than me and had more optimism than me that that we can still go on and win the title and go and beat Man City. I'm just looking at it like these men are just they've hit form at the right time and they're just putting the sword to anyone. When you see these men winning 4-1 on aggregate against Bayern Munich, you know shit's real in it. As simple as that. You know shit's real and they ain't here to fuck around. People, make sure you're smashing a like on the stream as well. Subscribe if you're new people as well. Make sure you do that. As I try to grow the channel and I can't do it without you, man. But look, let's talk on Ramsdale first of all. I think Ramsdale made some good saves in the match. I don't think he could have done, yeah, maybe 1, 2 of the goals he could have done better on, but he's coming up against some clinical finishers. He kept us in the game pretty much at 1-0. You get me? Obviously, City got their second goal towards the back end of the first half when the offside goal was originally given as offside, and then eventually it came into fruition and they got the goal. But up until that moment, they could have scored 2, 3, maybe 4 goals then as well. Haaland, good opportunities, good shots. Kevin De Bruyne as well. You get me? So Ramsdale, I can't kind of cuss him, even though it's 4-1, because for me, Ramsdale, he did all right. You get me? I wouldn't say he did absolutely brilliant, but he did all right. Do you know what I'm saying? Somebody saying the second goal was offside. It looked like Ben White's foot kept him on from the angle that they froze it at. However, originally it did look offside to me, but I'm guessing the lines are there for a reason and they must be accurate. So yeah, it looks like it's a goal. I think we just got to be humble in defeat, take the defeat. We were beaten by the better side. Like I said, I wanted to see more fight from the boys. I wanted to see hunger. I wanted to see passion. I wanted them to make me believe again that, you know what, it's not over. We can go out there. We can beat the best, because in order to be the best, you got to beat the best. And unfortunately, it's an absolute mad thing. Let's get some of your comments in as well. I came back from a football match which my team won, then come back home to see Arsenal getting put in a spliff. Disappointing. You know what? Yeah, it's crazy because this season we haven't had that feeling of disappointment up until maybe a couple of weeks ago. You get me? Normally, we're flying high, getting goals. Even when we're losing, we're turning over the results, scoring last minute winners and all that. We kind of, for some part of this season, have lost that feel to be disappointed. But now it's coming back real quick. You get me? It's coming back real thick and fast. But like I said, this season, it's a write-off for me. It's not going to happen. Next season, there is promise there. There is a good now foundation to build on. You get me? Because you got to look at the good the boys have done. And I think the pressure this year has got to them and they have to learn from that pressure. Because if they do not learn from that pressure, it is going to be a mad thing next season, because there's no let off then. There's no, oh, this is the first time you're in a title charge and there's no excuses. For me, this season, there was an excuse. In January, we went out there, we brought signings. That's down to Arteta and Edu. You get me? They could have put a bit more money down and got Casado if they really wanted him. You know what I mean? They could have went out there and potentially got a better centre back. I don't know. But they made the signings. Jorginho, he didn't look too bad when he's come on. But is he good enough in order to replace Thomas Partey in the games that he was out and we've dropped points? Is Kivior? He hasn't even really had a sniff. He come on at Liverpool. I didn't understand that substitution either. You get me? Not played in the Premier League. He's not ready for the Premier League. It's a bit of a funny one. Should we have maybe went in and got another forward, somebody that could have played up front as well? We say Trossard can do that false nine role. I get that, but in my team, I want an out number 9 as well. Somebody big, somebody powerful, somebody that could give us an option B. You get me? We got Kieran Tierney on the bench. He could come on, whip the balls in, give us some aerial threat. People are forgetting, even though we got Jesus and Nketiah, we had 3 strikers before that. You get me? We had 3 strikers: Nketiah, Jesus, Nketiah, Aubameyang, and Lacazette, and that worked. That worked. You get me? It's not like anyone was really upset or mad. You got to have them options in the team. You definitely got to have them options in the team. Look at Man City. They've got option upon option. You get me? They could take the likes of Kevin De Bruyne off. The thing is, when one key player is out of our team, we just don't look the same and we don't look right. Get me? Fabio Vieira, he's not ready for the Premier League. You get me? Reece Nelson, I'm going to give him credit, because Reece Nelson, every time he comes on, he makes an impact. So you can see that he's got that flair about him. You get me? And he's changed games. He's changed games for us this season. So I don't want to get onto Reece Nelson too much. Godfrey agreed, Premzy. We need a proper number 9 next season. Definitely. Like, don't get me wrong. I like the way we play football for the most part of this season. I like the free-flowing football. I like to see us tapping it about. But I want to see us be more precise with our passing. I want to see us be more direct. You get me? Have that vision to put the ball through fast and quick. You get me? To create the opportunity. Something that you see Man City doing today. What were Man City doing? Man City, every opportunity they had, they were like that fast. They were thinking rapid. You get me? Even with the opportunity when I think it was Godogan pulled the ball back to Haaland and he had a crack and it went through Ramsdale's legs, but he saved it. It's all fast thinking. We're taking too much time on the ball. You get me? I don't want to see that. And I want us to have that confidence and belief when we're coming up against a team like Man City, shall I say, rather, because we need to believe in ourselves. And from the manager, I want to see maybe a little bit more smarter moves. Be a bit pragmatic if you have to against certain big teams. Sometimes you can see the big teams in world football. Yeah, they might go out there and want to play their style and play their style, but change it up if you have to. It's a one-off game. Go and do it. You get me? Maybe bring Kieran Tierney on, put Zinchenko in midfield. You get me? Do something different. Do something that the fans can see. You know what? That he's trying to do something here. But you know what? I got to give the fans credit that were there at the Etihad, because you can still hear them singing towards the end. I think all the fans still have the belief in what's going on in the system and the process that Arsenal are in right now. It's very hard to take that we've been at the top of the league for so long, knocked off it for 3 days since we've been there, and it looks like it's just crumbling down and it's tumbling down. It's not nice. It's not nice. Let's get some more of your comments in. We need a game plan, and I don't know if we had one, but it definitely went out the window. You know what, bro? I can't disagree with you, bro. I can't disagree with you. I think City rattled us differently. I think the way they shut down all the passing lanes and the way they pressed us and smothered us, couldn't see what we were trying to do ourselves. You get me? Zinchenko giving the ball away, couldn't really get into midfield and influence things. Granted, Xhaka normally making forward runs. Everything was backwards today. Everything was absolutely backwards. It's a mad thing. But like I said, people, make sure you're smashing a like on this video and subscribing if you're new. It took us a long, quite a time to get here. You have made a great step forward. Just keep moving forward. Also, we beat Fergie United far further behind. Just keep fighting. You know what? I hear what you're saying, and I respect your opinion that you've got the faith. But sometimes, like I said, you've got to be a little bit realistic with it. The way this Man City team are, it's going to take some stopping him. Like I'm saying, you got to be pretty much perfect in order to win this league. Look at Liverpool, 97 points, 97 points, and they still missed out on the league. This just shows you what kind of animal we're coming up against. And now they brought an absolute monster in Erling Haaland, Norwegian Viking. He just broke the Premier League record, I think, for amount of goals scored in a season, or maybe one off it actually. But it's mad. This guy is just turning out mad numbers. And today, he turned into a creator, not even a scorer. It was mad how him and De Bruyne changed positions and swapped. I did not expect that at all. I was expecting De Bruyne to be putting the ball in to Haaland, not Haaland putting the ball into De Bruyne. You get me? And let me just touch on Rob Holding as well, because I said a little bit earlier on in the stream, I'm glad that he got his goal. And I am very glad he got his goal, because I think Rob Holding, since Saliba's out, he's an easy scapegoat. You get me? He's an easy scapegoat. It's easy for people to say, look, he's not good enough. We all know that Rob Holding's not good enough. You get me? We all know that we can improve on Rob Holding. But at the same time, we've got to give this guy a little bit of credit. When he has come in, he hasn't really made too many mistakes. Even against Southampton, I don't think he was that bad. You get me? He didn't make any standout errors or anything like that. Previously, I don't think he was crazy either. You get me? Against Liverpool, didn't really make silly mistakes. It's not like his name was in the headlights. However, I think because everyone's hurt, Saliba's out, it's just quickly Rob Holding. And look, he got us a goal today. You get me? Rob Holding. Super Rob. It's a mad thing. We got beat 4-1, yeah, and I'm praising Rob Holding. You get me? I've been positive this season. I've actually been positive, and I'm going to continue to be positive in the sense that I believe that next season we could go on and do something good. I do believe that. But at the same time, I do not want to be knocked out of no fucking cup competition early, because then that is a disaster for me. Not again. You get me? When we was getting knocked out of the Europa League, getting knocked out the FA Cup, getting knocked out the Carabao Cup, a lot of people, they were happy. Blessing in disguise. It's a mad thing. For me, I was never happy. You could go back and look at all of my videos, all of my fan cams. is not acceptable for me, because a club of Arsenal standards should be fighting in every single competition, because if you've been in a title race and old enough to see a title race, which luckily I have, you can look. Sometimes it doesn't happen in your favor, but at least you have something to fall back on. You get me? At least the fans have something to fall back on. They can enjoy maybe going to a cup final, winning a cup. And that's what we want to see with this Arsenal team. There is clear progression. However, I think we've just kind of, you could say bottle it. You could say pants have been pulled down. You could say the pressure's got to him. There's a lot of things you could say about him right about now. And I think they've kind of lost their heads. That's the God's honest truth. I think going into this game, they had no confidence. They might have said they've got confidence that we've only drew 3 games, we haven't lost. But if I'm a footballer and I've drew 3 games on a bounce and 2 of them games was winning 2-0 and they come back to equalize, you're just not going to be, you're not going to be happy at all. You get me? Your confidence is going to be on the floor. You get me? A dirty rag that's just being dragged around. That's how it is. And you can see this through the boys. And you know what? It's not easy. To win the Premier League is not easy. We've been there since pretty much the start of the season, and we're still there now. Funny enough, you get me? We've the ones with the points on the board, but City got 2 games in hand. Can anyone here in this chat really see City dropping points in 2 or 3 games? Because I really can't. You get me? Their toughest test was us, and they made light work of us. Absolute light work of us. You get me? They done a Bayern Munich aggregate scoreline in 1 game against us. That just shows the levels what Man City are at and the levels we're going to have to be next season. It's mad. Kevy says, go for every trophy, even the Carabao and the Europa Conference trophy is a trophy. I agree with you. Whatever competition you're in, you must do everything to go and win that competition. You get me? You can't be taking nothing lightly, especially in Europe as well, because we haven't even fucking won the Europa League. So I don't understand why you're not going to go out and play your full strength squad in that kind of competition. Go out there, start building some heritage in the Champions League, in the Europa League, in the European competitions, because next season we are in the Champions League, and you got to think there's loads of Man City type teams in the Champions League. The likes of Bayern Munich can do that to you on the day. The likes of Real Madrid can do that to you on the day. The likes of PSG can do that to you on the day. So unless we really want to go there and make a statement, because going into the Champions League this year, I want it to be totally different to how it's been for many years. I don't just want to be a participant in the competition. I want to have a real fighting chance to go and win it. And the one thing I must say about Arteta, I do think that he has that mentality and mindset where he wants to try to be the best and he wants to go for the big competitions. I do see that in him. So hopefully this, as Jesus says here, who would you buy and sell in the summer? First of all, we need a strong summer. We definitely need to buy, for me, a number 9, somebody big, somebody powerful, somebody who can give us a plan B. Do you know what I mean? Gabriel Jesus gets injured. We don't have to just rely on Eddie Nketiah. Then again, Balogun, it looks like he's probably going to get sold. So that's still an option for another striker to come in. Personally, I would like to keep Balogun. I think he's a good talent and he can do good for us. But I'd like to see another midfielder come in. I think we could definitely upgrade in Granit Xhaka. Credit to Granit Xhaka. He's been unbelievable this season. He's been a new player. I'm not saying sell Xhaka, keep him in the squad, but let's bring somebody in who can do that role. You get me? Somebody could do box to box. I was pretty set on looking at somebody like a Jude Bellingham. I might be believing too much, yeah, or I might be smoking too much budge, but I honestly thought if we won the Premier League, a player like Jude Bellingham would come to Arsenal. You got to look at it now. Even if we don't win the Premier League and we finish second, we're a very, very, very interesting proposition for a lot of these young players and top players in Europe, because they're going to be looking at the trajectory of Arsenal. They're going to be looking at the squad, looking at the manager, and they're going to be looking at the fight that we've given Man City this year and think, you know what? These men are in the Champions League. We can add to that squad and we could be totally different. We could push it to a new level. And that's what we need. Declan Rice might come in and help. At the same time, Casado as well. I think he's unbelievable. We need to bring somebody in like him. You get me? Against Man United in that semi-final. For me, man of the match, he was unbelievable. You get me? Unbelievable. Somebody like him needs to come into the team. We definitely need cover for Rob Holding. And we don't even know what this Kiviar kid's like. Get me? It might be a situation where we need 2 centre-backs, because Kiviar might need to go out on loan. He's still young, 23. for me, when I've seen him, I haven't seen anything special. I haven't seen no qualities in him that I'm screaming about. You get me? So we definitely do need to strengthen up in certain areas. I'll be disappointed if Kieran Tierney leaves the football club. I think he's probably getting real pissed off right about now that he's not getting no opportunities, and he didn't even get to come on today. You get me? Which for me is a big kick in the dick, because Kieran Tierney's a proper left back. You get me? It's just Arteta likes to play a different style. Kieran Tierney's there to give you a plan B style, and you need to start using it. Get me? I think that's down to Arteta. I definitely do not want Kieran Tierney going. I don't think Nuno Tavares will come back and stay. I think he potentially will get sold. I don't think Arteta likes him. It's a difficult one. It's an absolute difficult one, people. But look, we're gonna call it. We're gonna call it there, people, because I'm not even gonna lie. I feel so dejected. I feel like I've got no energy. I'm pissed off. The realization has fully kicked in. Fully kicked in. Like, yeah, after Southampton, I knew that's it. It's not gonna happen for us. But that little bit of hope, you get me? That little bit of hope when you support your team and a big game like this comes up, you expect to see some serious fight. You expect to see the boys going in there and saying to all the fans, nah, lift your head up. It's our time. Unfortunately, we didn't see that today. Final nail in the coffin, people. Make sure you smash a like on this video before you leave. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll be back with the next one. Peace and love.